Hello, welcome to the Love of the Star podcast alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus. I am Eric Chiafalo of the G-Bag Nation on your home of the Cowboys 105.3 The Fan. It's great to have you in another edition of the program as we inch closer and closer to Oxnard. Broaddus, I mean, goodness, man, you'll be out of here in what? You got 10 days. 10 days from today, you'll be touching ground in Los Angeles, California, getting ready for another training camp. This is exciting. What number training camp is this for you, Broaddus?
Been doing this since 1992, so do the quick math on that. This is where you need Kevin Hagelin involved here with the quick math. So what's
33 years?
33 years, yeah. 33 years. Been doing this. Yep. It started on my 27th birthday is when I started the NFL. December 12th of 1991.
Wow.
So, yeah. Quite a journey. Look, I love training camp. I mean, if folks haven't figured that out over the years, I do love this aspect of, unfortunately, don't get to stay the full time this year, but man, I love watching practices. I love like the aspect of like some preseason games and stuff like that, seeing these young guys play. Mm-hmm. You kind of get a little bit of an idea. And there's so many questions that we've talked about. I mean, since the draft, we've covered so much ground about concerns, things that we think might work, what these coaching staff might do. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we're kind of been talking about, and now you finally get to kind of see it all come together. So really kind of excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. We have plenty to get to in today's episode. I did want to let our listeners know we have something exciting going on right now. Broaddus, this is a survey for our listeners, and this is going to be a great opportunity for us to get to know you. So we're running an audience survey right now for the Love of the Star podcast to make sure that we're giving you the best that we can and best serving you how you want to be served. And so this is a great chance to give us feedback, help us learn more about you to make our show better. So you can actually go to the link. It'll be in the description of the podcast. If you're listening right now, you can go and click on it. Or you can just type it in. It's tinyurl.com/LOT-star. tinyurl.com/LOT-star. We would love to get some feedback from you. And we just want to be able to shape the show the way that you want it. We value you and your opinion of the show, so we want to get your feedback. So you can take this survey, and then we will be providing discounts as a thank you to the new merch that we have coming out. We're going to have some Love of the Star merch that's going to be making an appearance here very soon. You will get a discount on that merch just for answering a couple of simple questions about the show and giving a little bit of honest feedback. So you can be as brutally honest as you want, and just let us know how you like the way we do some of these episodes, what you would like to hear, what you don't really want to hear, and we can go ahead and make sure that comes through on the episodes here moving forward. So would love to hear from you. Again, it is it's a quick survey, and you can find it tinyurl.com/LOT-star. And this merch is going to be fire, by the way. So you're going to want to go ahead and get the discount on that. Capitalize. You win, we win. It's a great situation. So we appreciate you nonetheless. Thank you so much for listening to us, especially all throughout the off season, as we all are just waiting for the season to get going, and training camp now right around the corner. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I know Broaddus will be doing episodes, me, you, and Walchuk, when we're out there in Oxnard after practice, given the lay of the land of what's going down. So it's a great time of year, and we just definitely want to hear from you, and we appreciate you very, very much.
Yeah, if I could just piggyback on what you're saying, Eric, surveys usually aren't the most fun thing. And the minute we start to talk about, would you do a survey? I'm a survey guy. I enjoy giving my feedback. I think it actually does help. And really, we're asking you guys have been very, very loyal. The numbers show that. We really, really appreciate that. And, that's something that's how, competitive that I know I am. I base my shows on, importantly, all the shows we do on content. Content is the most important thing to me. all the extra stuff that goes with it is great. The number's great, all those things. I'm competitive that way. But it really, really is about the content. And if we can get an idea, if you just take a few minutes and fill this thing out and give us an idea, and it kind of gives us an angle of where we need to attack, whether it's more questions, more interviews, more guests, whatever we can do to make Love of the Star better for you. We realize there's a lot of podcasts out there. We realize that there's just a ton. There's a ton of Dallas Cowboys podcasts. Hell, you're talking to a guy right now that's creating his own network, doing more podcasting and stuff like that. But this would really, really help us if you just take a few minutes to fill it out and then give us an idea. And your feedback's important. Your honesty about it's important. The good things you like, the bad things you don't like. Those are all very, very helpful tools for us going forward.
Amen. Well said. Thank you, Broadus. Bottom line is we just want to continue to improve the show, and we value.
We really do.
So we look forward to getting some of the results on that survey. tinyurl.com/LOT star. That would make a world of difference for us. And like I said, you'll get some discounts on the upcoming merch that we're going to unveil here very, very soon. Now, Broadus, let's go ahead and get into it a little bit. Of course, we have the Dean Julia mailbag that we will get to here in a few minutes. One of the things that's jumped out is now we've got Duke Manyweather and the annual O-line mastermind summit going down, and looked like a lot of the Cowboy offensive linemen were there. And he was just speaking very, very highly about the talent, the depth, and being on the same page as this coaching staff. And we all know, man, if this team's going to go where we all want it to go, the offensive line is really where it's going to start. So just enjoyed hearing Duke Manyweather talk about being on the same page as the coaching staff and talking about the depth and the talent here. And I want to go through a couple of things of what the individual offensive linemen sort of need to work on. What's the area of focus for these guys? Does that work for you?
Yeah, real quick too, if I could, Eric, before we get started. It's funny, I come from an era where this really never ever happened. You never really had players getting together like we do today, whether it's been this tight ends, the quarterback schools, now the offensive line getting together. You've never had this before in all my years. And it used to be something, quite honestly, that was frowned upon. That, like, why are we getting everybody together? Why are we sharing secrets? Why are we doing these things? And you just it was really a closed-minded way of an approach. And I'm really happy that the Dallas Cowboys and others have embraced guys like Duke, who are a wealth of knowledge. We don't always have all the answers in the NFL. I've run across media members in my days, fans I felt like, damn, that's a really good idea. That's a really good opinion. And so the fact that now that we're more open-minded as a society, a football society, when it comes to the collaboration of other ideas, when I could talk to Trent Williams at San Francisco about something, and you could share, and the willingness of these players to be forthright and say, well, hey, when I'm playing, I think about this and that. We never, 25, 30 years ago when I first started, never. This was frowned upon so badly that why do you want to do this? But now we're more open-minded about it. I applaud all the guys and gals too that are involved with this as far as bringing these summits and camps to life.
Yeah, it is a pretty unique thing, and we are fortunate that Duke Manyweather's right here in our backyard. And so
highly respected guy.
No question about it. And this is a pretty young Cowboys offensive line. So it's nice that they're getting all the additional help possible. And these guys are committed for sure. I got some great quotes from Tyler Booker, the competitive spirit that he carries around with him. But I wanted to see, so Duke Manyweather was listing a couple of things, like the area of focus for these guys. For Tyler Guyton, one, I think when we think about Tyler Guyton last year, we think about the penalties. 14 penalties. That was tied. I think that was second most in the league last season for a guy who didn't even get a full season of starting under his belt. So that was mean, that's obviously one of the things that we got to get cleaned up. But the area of focus is his posture, his strength, and balance in his stance at the left tackle position. So that is what Duke Manyweather is saying, and the Cowboys coaching staff is saying, like, hey, we got to get right when it comes to Guyton. Got to get the posture, the strength, the balance in his stance. And good news is, I know he's been living in the weight room at the Star all off season. Schottenheimer's been pretty excited about that factor.
Yeah, let's circle back though about the penalties. That's survival mode right there, my friend. That is just trying to survive. That's a guy that doesn't have really great technique, didn't really have it at Oklahoma. Very natural athlete, mobile, able with the body type, the makeup, the way he's able to move. Those penalties are survival mode penalties. He's just trying to survive, not having experience, not having any real technique. How much did Mike Solari really work with him on trying to get his feet in his hands and his balance better? You know, these are all questions that you have to ask yourself now. And the Cowboy front office did. They moved on from the coaches that didn't help their guys. So, you know, is it on Guyton too? Yes, absolutely. But those penalties, a lot of them are survival penalties, just trying to stay in front of the guy, trying not to get Dak or Cooper Rush hit on plays that he was involved in. So going in and cleaning up those, having more confidence, having more strength. If you have the ability, that's what makes Tyler Smith so good. His ability to, when he's in bad body position, he has the power to reset his feet, his hands, his knee bend. He could adjust. But Tyler Smith has that ability because he's fought Dexter Lawrence inside, and he understands how to block Daron Payne. You know, and so those kinds of things help. And I think year two, the things that Duke pointed out absolutely needed to be cleaned up. But let's be honest again, that was all about survival for that young kid out there not knowing very much.
And when it comes to the stuff, when you're talking about strength and posture and balance, all that is fixable and coachable and redeemable, right?
Yeah, I think the things that he could definitely work on, the experience will help him, number one. Mm-hmm. The fact, you know, we saw him go against Jared Verse, and Verse was a rookie himself, but it looked like, you know, I mean, Verse broke him down pretty well. Micah, now he had some really good reps against Micah right off the jump, and he gave you some hope there. But yeah, the strength part of it, he is a long, slender guy. And he might not have the bulk that you see from a Booker or somebody like that. Look at what's gone on. We've seen Terence Steele over the years. Terence Steele, I think, has been in the league now 6 years for you. Terence Steele looks no different from year one, strength-wise, than he works today. Mm-hmm. And sometimes genetics, arm length, muscle length, all those things, it's just hard for some guys to develop. And so you have to be crafty in other ways. You have to be crafty in hand position, leverage, knee bend, knowledge, being prepared. All these things come into factor, which Tyler Guyton was really none of those last year. I mean, we've seen Dallas Cowboys so many days of plug and play, and we immediately just assume plug and play. And others pointed out before the draft, listen, you take this guy, there was going to be a pretty steep learning curve. You know, we've seen guys go through the learning curve thing, you know, as rookies. And so I think all the things, yes, are correctable. I'm always interested in the strength aspect of things because of the way he is physically built. He is not a bulky type of line. He's long, he's lean, he doesn't look the weight that he is. But yeah, you could work on strength and core strength and lower body strength, and hopefully that will make him better as a blocker going forward.
Now, looking at Tyler Smith, one of the areas of focus for him, just getting off the ball quicker and establishing his first 3 steps to maximize leverage and power. So just being more efficient with his change of direction and redirect, and that's obviously this is one of the best guards in the league, and now he's just kind of in the fine-tuning phase of his career. So a little bit different situation, but I am excited about him, Beebe, Booker all together. I mean, that could be a bunch of road graders.
Yeah, this is now the getting off the ball quicker. Now this is his ability to adjust to another new center. Early in his career, he was dealing with Tyler Biadasz. How Biadasz snaps, how, some centers are quicker, some are slower. It might be a situation too where he was trying to help Beebe get through his first year. Not only was he focusing on what he had to do assignment wise, but maybe he was trying to make sure that Beebe was set and where he needed to be. So sometimes coming off the football, it just happens to be like, am I trying to help somebody, or am I brand new working with this guy? And is there going to be, because later in the year, they got better with their combination blocks, the scoop blocks, the running the ball. They got better. And it took a little time for Smith. And the unfortunate thing for guys like Smith and Steele are that this is like the third offensive line coach, or second offense. For Steele, it's been 3. For Smith, this is now 2. For Beebe, he gets his, this will be his second coach. I mean, young guys, but having to go through a lot of different techniques and stuff. But I think the thing about Smith coming off the ball really was more about playing next to a new center that he really, really didn't have a good feel with. But as the season wore along, they got a little bit better with that.
Cooper Beebe reuniting with his K-State offensive line coach, Connor Riley, which is certainly something to be excited about. And their area of focus, more reps, better utilization of his offhand.
That's
snapping the ball.
Yeah, that's the thing. As a former center myself, not a great center or a good center by any means, but
damn good center. You were a damn good center.
I've seen All-Americans. I've seen guys that are really a lot better. But offhand is really, really important. What offhand does is, and what nose tackles and defensive tackles will do is, on a center, you always want to attack snap hand, because snap hand, it has to get up quick. Offhand buys you as ball going back, hand going up, that hand going up buys you time to get your other snap hand up. If you've watched, really one of the better centers in the league is Creed Humphrey from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's left-handed. So it's weird to watch. Defensive linemen are so used to playing against a right-handed center. And then all of a sudden you get a left-handed center, and Creed Humphrey has a little advantage because, wait a minute, I got to go the other way now, trying to attack that left hand. And Creed Humphrey's right hand is so quick. So it's left hand going back, right hand going up. And Beebe, that's just experience. But the number one thing they tell you as a center, make sure the quarterback gets the ball and then think about blocking. Everybody else goes and blocks. You have to get the ball to the quarterback and then find a way to get your hand involved and stuff like that. So yeah, offhand, really good, because that buys you that separation. It kind of puts that shock into the defender to slow him down, so you can then get your right hand set back inside. Especially for a guy in Beebe who is not a natural born center. Not at all.
He was a guard. We got thrown into the line of fire, and especially for a rookie, I mean, he was really good last year. And so now getting back his old offensive line coach, really honing in on the center position and the fine tuning and the details of it. I expect Cooper Beebe to have a fantastic year. And it certainly helps when you got Tyler Smith to your left. And then hopefully now you have a stud rookie in Tyler Booker to your right. And the area of focus for Booker, just cross training to prepare for his switch from left guard to right guard. And Manny Weather has been, pretty excited about the way he's looked to this point. And we know what type of competitor he is. I love some of the quotes. Our buddy Joe Hoyt in the Dallas Morning News had a couple of quotes from Tyler Booker. And he said, "I love to win. I hate to lose. I lost too much this past year. I lost a lot more than I should have in college. Me being at Alabama, I left without a national championship, and that's something that is going to burn at me for the rest of my life. So I'm going to bring that burn and passion and desire with me to the NFL and transfer that over to wanting to win Super Bowls." I do love this guy so much. Every time he's just incredible.
Yeah, and really excited where, I know a lot of people were like, well, he was taken 12th overall. No, he was right there in the mix, whether you had him at 12th or 20, he was right there in that one of the best guards, in the country, the power that he plays with. I don't think there'll be a lot of learning curve for him. He's been in some big time games. He's gone up against some really quality competition, has fared very well doing that. The things that now his drafting might give you a little bit of a hint of where Dallas is going to think about running the ball. And I don't mean behind him. I mean, is it going to be a gap scheme team? Is it going to be, this guy is a gap power player. And so this might give you a little bit of an idea about maybe what Dallas is thinking here when it comes to what they want to do with their offensive line and running the football. Because he's an athlete, no question, can get second level, but do you want him pulling? Do you want him in space? Occasionally. I don't think it's a problem. But man, you talk about first 2-3 steps. We were talking about Tyler Smith taking advantage of his first 2 and 3 steps. This is where Booker can take really big advantage. And so maybe he was drafted with the idea that Dallas is going to be more of a gap scheme team running the ball. We'll see it here in a couple of weeks.
And finally here, Terence Steele, area of focus, more detailed approach to his handwork as well as increased mobility. And he says, and I know you've talked about this plenty, the Terence Steele, Mike Solari coach player combo probably wasn't ideal. And Manny Weather says, like, Solari wanted him to do different things with his hands that I didn't necessarily agree with and that I didn't think worked for Terence. So late last year, you started to see a little bit more of him getting back to being himself and doing some of the things that he's more comfortable doing, especially from a handwork standpoint. But now, no Solari, Connor Riley's in, everybody's on the same page, continuing to distance himself from the previous knee injury. Hopefully this is a rock solid Terence Steele season, and this offensive line can be a catalyst for the entire team.
Yeah, Terence Steele went from a guy that was beloved by a Joe Philbin, and Joe Philbin was always very complimentary, and Terence responded to that. Terence is probably a guy, and I don't know Terence well at all. I mean, he's played a lot longer in this league than I was even willing to give him credit for. But Terence was always described as a first in, last out, was going to do everything you asked of him, coachable, just sits in the front row type of a player. And then Mike Solari comes in and he loses that. He loses the guy that was giving him that emotional support, that pat on the back. And maybe that's what made Terence Steele, that type of player. Maybe he didn't ever in his life have coaches that always gave him a pat on the back. And he works extremely hard. That part I do know. But then getting Mike Solari and asking him, and all of a sudden Terence is kind of a survival guy too. We've seen Terence Steele get rocked in his stance. We've seen him get driven to the quarterback. We've seen him not play with a lot of power. But we've also seen him get to second level. We've also seen him get blocks in space. We've also seen him get down the field. That's the strength of his game. And, he did a good job when Zach Martin was healthy. He did a really good job with Zach Martin of those double team combo blocks, things like that. Martin then was hurt, compromised. They changed the guard spot. And so now it took a little bit more time. It took time to kind of once again learn. But I think that if I was a coach coming in, Coach Riley, Coach Adams, and I kind of went back and watched 2 years ago tape and kind of talked to people in the building, why did Terence Steele thrive? I would get an understanding of that as a coach and then kind of work that route in order to be able to make sure he has success this year.
I love it. There it is. There's a great offensive line breakdown. Thank you, Brian Broaddus, for that. You're listening to the Love of the Star podcast. Love of the Star is an Odyssey podcast. You can find it on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Friendly reminder, we have a survey that we would love for you to take, tinyurl.com/LOT star. tinyurl.com/LOT star. And we just want to hear from you because we want to continuously improve the show. We want to value your feedback, our listeners, that's going to help us shape the show. So we really appreciate you guys listening. Would love to get your feedback on the survey. We'll have it out for the next probably week or two. And then once you complete the survey, you will be getting a discount on the upcoming Love of the Star merch that we have coming out. It's going to be fantastic. You and Brian Broaddus can be wearing the exact same shirt on the exact same day. That'd be a special thing.
How about that? Yeah. And again, folks, we really do care about the content. We really, really do. I mean, it's super important to us because there's a lot of podcasts you can listen to, but we want you to listen to ours. We want to tailor it so you get something out of it. And that's important to us. So thank you for taking that survey when you do.
Absolutely. tinyurl.com/LOT star. We want to curate the content on this podcast specifically to the needs of our listeners and the wants of our listeners. And we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Okay. Dean, Julia, mailbag time, Broaddus. Let's go ahead and jump right in. We have Alan Harrison. I think he's being a little tongue in cheek here, but he says, would an NFC championship appearance be good enough to be called a success for the season? I think that's an absolute no-brainer. I would love to get your bar for success. Like what would you come away with saying, hey, this is new foundation with a new coaching staff. This is a nice start here to feel confident moving forward.
Yeah, people are going to hate my answer, but this is just harkens back to my days when I started in Green Bay in '92, and they'd had, but don't get me wrong, that the roster in Green Bay was nowhere as good as the roster is here with the Dallas Cowboys. But I will say this, though, with the new coach, new staff that has yet to coach in the NFL, a lot of these guys have yet to coach an NFL game, have yet to have that NFL experience. And so, yeah, is it different? It absolutely is different. My approach is they do not need a 3-14 season. They just don't. They can't afford a 5-12 season. They can't afford that. If Brian Schottenheimer is going to have success with this football team, they're going to have a winning season. And they might be, a lot of people think they're the third best team in the division. That might be very well the case. We'll see. They've got a lot of talented players, but Brian Schottenheimer needs to have a winning season in order to all the things that he's pushing for to be in the player's mind, like, okay, credibility, I'm buying in. That's what Brian Schottenheimer's looking for, the buy-in. Sure, everybody wants an NFC championship, a Super Bowl, and all that. My expectations are if this thing is a winning campaign, and say it does fall short of a playoff berth, but it's a winning campaign, you build on that. That to me is successful. I know people in the comments are going to say, Broaddus, that's not successful. It's 30 years of losing and all that. This is a first-time head coach. You know, I had the same type of expectations when Jason Garrett took over as the team. You know, I wasn't thinking Super Bowl or playoffs or anything like that. I was thinking, give me a winning season, allow these coaches to grow, allow the players to grow a little more, the young ones, kind of have an idea where you're at, and then find a way to build off that. But if this thing turns into 3-14 or 5-12 or something like that, this is going to be an absolute disaster. And I mean, and it's going to be a rough off season because the player buy-in will be very, very, very limited. And Schottenheimer will have a hard time building back up from that. Dan Quinn did it exactly. Yeah, you saw what Dan Quinn did, but Dan Quinn's a former head coach in the league. But you saw what a difference a coaching staff can make, and they were able to build off that. So I'm hopeful. But if you get a winning season to start this thing and build from there, I would be elated as a Cowboy fan.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, I think this is going to be an 8 or 9 win team. If you told me that this was a 10-win team, I would be like, man, that's a huge success. Even just 9 and 8, I think would be a win. You're not throwing a party or anything, but you're going, okay, this thing is clearly
build on this. We can
build on this. And obviously just making the playoffs in general would be cool. And I get it. Like we have our general big picture Cowboy expectations and what success looks like. And that is not missing the playoffs or just winning 9 games. but you have to kind of have two parts of your brain on this.
Right.
1 year, understanding the context of the situation, the new coaching staff, the roster, the schedule, which is pretty difficult, at least as it stands right now. 9-10 wins. Vegas thinks you're a 7 or 8 win football team. So you go win 9 or 10. Okay, you beat. You
exceeded expectations. Yeah, they just. But if this thing it can't. It just he has got to build credibility with the players. And yeah, is it you're Dak older and all that? Sure. You have older players, sure, but you got a lot of younger players too. You got a lot of players you have to worry about contracts with and stuff like that. You have to build a foundation here. Right now, everybody feels good, but the minute you start playing games and the minute you start either winning games or losing games, that's where this thing is going to go. So a winning season from a first-time head coach and a completely new staff and a lot of young players, that seems to be a very positive thing that you can build on. And then my expectations the following year will be much higher after free agency, a draft, potential trades, and a coaching staff that has grown older and has established some credibility with the players.
Thank you, Alan Harrison, for the question. Now we have KJ Wright asking this, Broadus. Good question here. What are the 3 things you need to see at training camp that would take your optimism of the season up a notch? 3 things at camp you need to see to make you feel even more optimistic about this season.
Yeah, I need to see the defensive line working together as a unit, not just as I need to see the tackles with the ends. We know this team can rush the passer. Stopping the run might be a little bit of a different story here, but I need to see some wins. I don't have to see wins every single day because I need to see some offensive wins too. But if you get that front 7 and they look more in tune with what Matty Eberflus is trying to do, and you see some practices where there's an up the field Oso Digizua play, or there's a Mozzie Smith play, or there's a JT play, or you see something from just pick Fowler, pick anybody, Turner, just all these guys. If you just see some positivity with those guys, that would give me hope that maybe this front 7 will be absolutely okay when it comes. I also need to see, though, I'd like to see the battle for the third receiver really kind of materialize and see, is it Tolbert? Is it Mingo? That would give me some encouragement, because I think we got the 1 and the 2. But what's going to happen at 3 and what's going to happen? So whoever loses the battle at 3 is probably going to be 4. But I need to see that Dak Prescott, whoever the third receiver is, whoever the fourth receiver is, that will give me some encouragement right there going forward. And I need to see something from these running backs. If in fact that Jadon Blue turns into a guy that looks like a quality blitz pickup, pass protection guy, really not known for it overall there at Texas. But if I see him having some success as a pass protector, he's my starting running back. I need to figure out who my starting running back is going to be. And I don't want to just do it because veteran guys of Williams and Sanders. I don't want to see just because they're veteran guys that they get to start. If Blue could come in here and show that he's capable of protecting the football and capable of pass protection and picking up the right guys and giving it good technique and learning about that and improving every single day, then that guy needs to be my starter. So the running back, the wide receiver number 3, and then also the defensive line.
Yeah, I love that, and I'm excited to watch some film off as well. I'm hoping that maybe surprise some people at the running back position. I would say looking at the Kyer Elams and the Kalen Carsons of the world, Izzy McQuamu's, the corners next to Deron Bland, do they look like they can be? Can they be average to above average starters? That would go a long way for me. Who is it? Mozzie Smith? My guess is no. Is it Jay Toya? Somebody in the middle of that defensive line that shows, hey, I can step up here on rundowns and be a monster and keep these linebackers clean and not get moved around, pushed off the ball. Those 2 things I think would be huge. You have the Guyton aspect as well, not getting tore up. But I also would just say, like, looking at the offense and seeing, okay, there's been a lot of chatter, Schottenheimer, about what your vision is and trying to really push this offense into the era that we're in now in football and the condensed formations and the motions and all that kind of stuff when it comes to creativity. Are we seeing some glimpses of that? I think that would be pretty encouraging to see all that come to fruition a little bit offensively. Okay, you are listening to the Love of the Star podcast. Love of the Star is an Odyssey podcast. You can find it on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, Broadus, we continue with the Dean Julia mailbag here. We got a few more questions. Tolo E asking, will defense or offense be better this year? I'm more optimistic about the offense. What say you?
I think to me there is the offense clearly because of the veterans that you have on it. I think with the quarterback being that guy, the offensive line, you have some veteran guys on that. The two wide receivers, Ferguson at tight end. Yeah, there's that. I just have the unknown of really what the scheme is going to be. I mentioned earlier, I think that maybe it's going to be a gap scheme running the ball. Looking forward to seeing what the pass scheme looks like or how they use their players in that regard. But yeah, I kind of feel like the defense probably has the most questions, and especially in the secondary. I think the secondary has a lot of questions too. I think they need some guys to absolutely step up until they get those guys back from injury. You just cannot go out there and be a sieve when it comes to letting people throw the football on you. And so I kind of have my bigger concerns. Not worried about the pass rush as much. The defense, as far as the run game stuff, I think that maybe that some of that stuff will take care of itself with Sanborn, Murray, Maris Leofau. Maybe those guys will do a little bit better than what we think they will. But that secondary's got me a little bit concerned.
Okay, we have ZS25 wanting to know, other than maybe Guyton with Awesome Richards, are there any position battles that you're most excited to see when it comes to training camp? He lists running back, linebacker, defensive tackle, wide receiver 3, and safety as positions. It sounds like wide receiver 3 is going to be one that you're pretty excited about.
I'm excited about that. How about tight end 2? Because everybody kind of talks about we think that I was listening to some people kind of talk about Spanford and he could catch and he could do this and do that. And no, and I didn't see a great catcher. I did not see a catcher. I saw a guy that fought the ball. I don't see a guy that separates particularly well. I'm not saying that Luke Schoonmaker is a world beater by any means right now, but there were some times when Ferguson was out, Luke Schoonmaker looked better. But give me the second tight end. Who is going to push? Who is going to push to win that job? Third wide receiver, clearly we talked about that earlier. Second tight end is kind of a sneaky one, and not sneaky. It's one that they need because when they play 12 personnel stuff, that's your guy. Whoever that second guy is, that's going to be your guy. So the battle between Spanford and Luke Schoonmaker. Luke Schoonmaker needs to stay healthy. If Luke Schoonmaker's not going to be healthy and is going to find a way to have ankle sprain or hamstring tightness that's going to keep him out of practice, I don't have time for you. Just go ahead then and whoever's up, Spanford, any one of these guys, any one of these tight ends that they're in the mix right now. We've talked about even Fairweather and stuff like that, guys like that. I mean, I just kind of think like, to me, that's whoever steps up. I don't have time for guys at that second tight end spot being hurt and nicked up and all those things. I need somebody who can legitimately play there.
Yeah, I'm with you, especially with the way of the league right now. You're starting to see heavier personnel groupings. You're starting to see offenses trying to take advantage of, hey, man, if I got 2 tight ends that can have some semblance of a balanced skill set when it comes to pass catching and blocking, the advantage it can give you as an offense is real. And so one of those guys being able to step up would be nice. I think that would allow for just more options, different personnel groupings and things like that for Schottenheimer and Clayton Adams and these guys. So with you there 100%. I think the wide receiver 3 stuff is super interesting. The running back stuff, of course.
Nickel. How about the nickel corner? That's another one you haven't think about. Yeah.
Definitely the nickel corner. What are they going to do there? Are they just going to have to throw Bland into the middle when it comes to obvious passing situations? Or is somebody going to go ahead and take control of that particular spot and leave Bland on the boundary? At least you have that that comfort of knowing that Bland can do it, even though I don't think he really wants to. We'll see if anybody can step up in that way. The Carsons and the McQuamus of the world, for sure. I can't help but just I'm going to be all over this defensive tackle spot, though. I really am. I'm hoping that, like, if you told me that one guy could just like really, really shock and surprise people at training camp, I would say it'd be Jay Toya, the 7th rounder out of UCLA. I keep hammering that home, but that's a guy that, and it's a lot to ask of a 7th round pick. I get it, but man, if he could come in there and be considerably better than what Mozzie Smith has been as a 1 tech on the interior of the D line, I think that could be a total game changer for the defense. Okay, let's see. We have Jeremy Ritt is asking, if everyone is healthy, can you explain why Sam Williams is not Dallas's 2nd best defensive end when it comes to playing both the pass and the run?
He's not a great run defender. Sam's not a great run defender. We've seen times where the ball has gone inside. Sam is not disciplined enough to play the run well, and maybe he will develop that. There seems to be a change in Sam Williams. I know that Jeff Kavanaugh and I were doing our podcast yesterday, Trust the Tape, and Jeff is very, very bullish on Sam Williams, and I understand it. I mean, that is a good looking, athletic player. He has no discipline right now. And that discipline needs to improve, and he hasn't, he sat out really the whole season last year because of an injury. But the times that he has been playing, he's flashed brilliance. He's also flashed plays where he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. So with good conscience, I can't call him the 2nd best run defender. I could call him one of the best pass rushers you have, but I could also say he's proven at times he's not been very disciplined. And I think that's something that he's going to work on and hopefully improve. Listen, it's an important year. He's at a crossroads. He's now in his 4th year in the league. He's at a crossroads as where, he's trying to get paid. And he realizes that. He has to be. It's all these guys that all of a sudden have this come to this, as they always say, come to the Jesus meeting, where all of a sudden they realize, like, whoa, I'm at the crossroads. They're either going to cut me or I'm going to get a contract extension here, depending on how I play. And he needs to figure it out really, really fast. And I think he's going to try and do that this summer.
I love it. All right, there it is for our Dean Julia mailbag. And that'll do it for today's edition of the Love of the Star podcast. Broadus, you're a football savant. We appreciate it, my friend. 10 days away from Broadus planting that Love of the Star flag right there in Oxnard, California, giving you wall-to-wall Cowboy coverage all throughout training camp. We look forward to that. Don't forget the merch will be on sale very soon, and you're going to get that discount because you're going to capitalize on the survey. tinyurl.com/LOT-star. That's tinyurl.com/LOT-star. We cannot wait to hear your feedback, and it'll all come to fruition on the show, giving you exactly what you want on this podcast. We love you, Broadus. You're the man. We'll be back with more Cowboys content coming up in the coming days. Thank you, everyone.